magandang hapon sa lahat. Welcome to our Open Talk series on teaching innovations and open and distance e-learning. I am Aleta Villanueva from the Faculty of Education, your host and moderator for today's Open Talk episode titled Research Mentorship and Supervision in ODeL Programs. This episode is brought to you by the Center for Open and Digital Teaching and Learning in collaboration with the Faculty of Management and Development Studies and the Faculty of Information and Communication Studies, as well as the Faculty of Education. No? To our viewers, if you have questions or comments, which you may want to share, please post those on the chat boxes at the UPOU Network's Facebook page. We also have our UPOU Network's website and the UPOU YouTube channel. Okay. Now we have some questions prepared for our invited speakers who are part of the panel today. Our first speaker is Dr. Jean Saladades. She's professor and currently the program chair of the Doctor of Communication program and also our vice chancellor for finance and administration of the UP Open University. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Aleta.
Dr. Jean teaches research at the Doctor of Communication and the Master of Distance Education, which is under the Faculty of Education, and also the Master of ASEAN Studies and the Master of Research and Development Management. So it's quite a spread. No? She has served as chair and co-chair of master's thesis and doctoral dissertation of 100 advisees. Wow. And her research interests is in understanding organization through the lens of communication as constitutive of organization perspective. Thank you for joining us and making time. No, I know it's a very busy schedule, but when it comes to such engagements related to research, go na go si Ma'am Jean sa ganyan. We're so happy to have you. Our second speaker, good afternoon, Doc Myra.
Good afternoon, Dr. Aleta.
Okay, Dr. Myra Uruga. She is an associate professor also of the Faculty of Management and Development Studies and the program chair of Master of International Health. Wow, so she's also interested in research ethics now. See, Ma'am Myra is also part of the Research and Publications Committee. She works also in the assisting the Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, right? In areas especially in research. So we're also happy to have you. No, we have a limited time, meaning we have just maybe an hour. No, so we are eager to know, and let's start. We prepared a few questions here for you. No, the first few questions would be, how would you define or describe research mentorship in ODeL programs? Because I believe a lot of the research mentoring that you have been undertaking is within UPOU, and we all know that our programs are in the ODeL. And what usually are the key considerations and challenges when undertaking rapport building with our OU mentees or research students? Because it isn't always face to face that we do this. So I'm curious how you manage to do this mentoring, which you firmly maybe have some principles and beliefs that you have. So would you like to start, Ma'am Jean?
Okay, thank you very much, Doc Aleta. So I think it's related to the first question that you have given me earlier. What do I think about ODeL as it relates to research mentorship? And so your question on what is research mentorship for me in this context? I have written papers that relate to this topic, and I would always begin it with this line: the mentorship needed to acquire research knowledge and skills requires one-on-one interaction that puts the digital form of learning in question. Can teaching research online build research capability? So this is a theoretical pursuit for me. In what way teaching research online can build research capability. And I would like to quote from Smith in 2001. The author said that the immediacy that is inherent with informal face-to-face interactions commonplace in a residential program must be replaced with scheduled interaction around progress in specific projects in an online environment. So when we define what we do in an ODEL context, we tend to compare it with non-ODEL, which is the residential face-to-face teaching kind of teaching. So this quote suggests that it is possible to build research capability online, but the teacher's interaction with the students individually and collectively has to be in place. And later on, as we progress with our discussion, I will be sharing in what way that scheduled interaction unfolds in my courses. So I'm not very sure, Doc Aleta, if I was able to answer your
Oh,
question, but that is a challenge to all of us in this context on whether it's possible to build. And I'm a believer of ODEL. It's possible, but there should be a scheduled interaction. Thank you.
thank you for you actually captured a very basic principle, even if maybe it is in a non-research mentoring context, but still within ODeL. No, it is very important that the interaction takes place, and it's in a way it's also as systematic as how we do our courses. No, Dr. Myra, how about you? How would you
Yeah.
define maybe some of your basic beliefs or principles when it comes to research mentoring
Oo.
in an ODeL environment?
Yeah. For me, online research mentorship involves we provide guidance, okay, support and expertise to individuals engaging in research activities through virtual means. Okay, ito yung approach that has become increasingly popular due to accessibility of digital communications, tools, and globalization of research collaboration. Now that sa amin kasi sa health, because of the pandemic, we were obliged to do it online. Pero dapat, ang requirement is there is a virtual communication platform. Okay? So, yun yung sa akin. Kailangan expert dun sa area yung magme-mentor as well as yung mentor would give guidance and support dun sa mini-mentee niya. So, yun.
So it's really a combination of ano no and expertise and trying to translate that expertise in very concrete actions of mentoring students who are on the way of being more experienced and more experts in their own disciplines. No, so if there are any key considerations, no, perhaps this is the time that you can share more with us how that unfolds, no, when you do the mentoring, to include any other challenges that you experience as you go through this mentoring with your research students.
Doctrine muna.
Okay, yes. Yes. We look at teaching and learning education as a communication process from my field's point of view, so that is the most important, that you are the parties in communication are on the same level, no, nag-usap kayo. And I think that is a challenge once, even if you provide all the opportunities for communication is there, but we understand the context of our students. They are doing their studies at the university, not in a full-time basis. They have also their own full-time work. So that meeting on a particular time at a particular platform, so that you can engage in this mentoring process, is a real challenge, given the mediation of technology. But it's not just technology that is mediating our communication with our students, but their own context is a mediator. So this is a mediating consideration for us as well. We always think of where our students are. Later on, I'll be sharing you what do I do in that regard. But that is a challenge. It's really how you keep the communication, the interaction with your student, that scheduled and I would do that scheduled interaction later on. But it's a challenge of having this scheduled interaction, that kind of interaction. How do you keep it and keep it moving, keep it flowing, keep it alive, regardless if it spans 5 years. Some students,
Yes.
some students, would take long, given that they are doing their research, not full time. Yeah, siguro
Mhm.
Aleta
So
and
that communication is very important, no? Especially the flow and making sure that schedules um arranged, no? Pre-scheduled yung iba. Sometimes you have to do it maybe instantly. Would that be some of your experience also? Would you are you able to relate with Ma'am Jean's perspective and the
Yes, oo, very
sharing?
much. Oo, oo. Tapos there should be a clear communication and expectations. I experienced that when nung bago-bago pa lang ako na nagme-mentor.
Mm.
Kasi it's hard lalo na kapag malayo yung iminementi mo, yung menti mo. Katulad namin, nasa malayo siyang lugar. So, ang expectations niya is dapat nakatutok ako sa kanya. Okay?
Mm.
Yung time ko, there really time difference dun sa one place to another is very crucial. So nagkakaroon kami ng miscommunication via email. That's why oftentimes ang ginagawa ko, um, virtual ko siya for us to lay down what do you expect for me and what do I expect for you. Dapat clear yon. Okay? Kasi sometimes pag too much expectation, minsan narereklamo ako eh. Kasi I cannot attend. Dito sa UPOU, di ba, we have so many deliverables. And then, ang feeling kasi ng mga estudyante, we have a fixed schedule, okay, of mentoring. Kasi ang framing nila is that they are into residential. Okay, na pwedeng pumunta yung estudyante, nasa kahit anong time, pag nakita nila na nasa office yung kanilang advisor. To us, hindi ganun kasi kasi we have to do our online other deliverables. So, ganun yung expectation. So, ako, natuto ako from that experience. That's why kinaklaro ko na ito yung role ko, okay? Ito yung role mo. Sometimes kasi yung sa amin, also nile-leverage ko kung how far yung kanyang knowledge tungkol sa research. Kasi may mga iba na ina-expect niya katulong ako sa pagsusulat ng paper niya. Which is, I'm just guiding you. You are the ones na dapat magsulat niyan. Okay? So, ganon. Kaya dapat talaga, communication is very important. Kaya before I accept a a an advisee, tinitingnan ko muna, are we aligned in terms of expertise? Kasi I have limitations. Hindi ko alam lahat. Kaya sinasabi ko yan, hindi ko alam lahat. Ito lang yung area na kaya kong sa inyo, um, itulong. Okay? Kapag iba na yan, hindi ko yan ma-articulate sa'yo na mabuti. That's why oftentimes I decline. Hindi kasi yan ang expertise ko eh. So, as a program chair, I match them accordingly. Tapos yun nga yung expectation nila, tatanong ko, hanggang kailan mo gustong gawin yan? Kasi nasa volition niya ng nasa yan ng isang researcher. Gusto mo na bang graduate ng ganito? We have to target a timeline for you. How busy are you? Titatanong ko sa kanya. Tapos, ang ginawa ko as part of my strategy, para hindi ko rin naman sila para mabigyan ko sila ng time, I created a group sa Hangout para
Mm.
lang na-update sila. Ako ang how are you? Kamusta na yung write-up ninyo? Etc. So, ayun, yun yung mga challenges na I think I had strategized over the years. Pero talaga nung unang-una, nung umpisa pa lang, talagang kapang-kapa ako at lagi ako nairereklamo. Oh, no. Even so, they are writing to the chancellor. I am not
No, but
appealing to
thank,
them.
no, but thank you, Doc Myra, because you're very open about the idea that even research supervision and mentoring is something we also learn as we go, no? It's not like we have our expertise areas of ano no experiences and talagang we know our field, but then mentoring takes another step because it's an extra step of looking into communication flows and then setting clear expectations, which you have emphasized in what you said, and there are challenges to that, no? And you're quite transparent about ano, doing better next time because you learned you learned maybe the hard way, no? Dr. Jean, how about you? Before I share my own personal experience when it comes to communication, it would be also nice to hear from you what your thoughts on on Doc Myra's sharing, and also including yours, that the challenges that maybe you have experienced, and of course always the factors that we need to consider whenever we do our mentoring.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, it's keeping that interaction alive. That is the very difficult to keep, no? Because we have to be in communication always with the student. Now, given my context that I'm given my multiple, almost all of us have these multiple roles and different hats to wear, and so time is limited. So in this communication, I would always request the student, because this is not always video conferencing, but at the beginning of our research mentorship, I would always ask the student to submit to me one page primer so that I would understand where they are, what they wanted to pursue in terms of research. And so I would understand where they are, their level, because not all of them are my students, although if it's except for the MDC, all of them have gone through my courses in the MDE, MRDM, MAS, DCOM, so except MDC because I'm not teaching at MDC. So I know most of them, but there are those who I really don't know. But regardless whether I know them or I don't know them, I would always require them to have this one-page primer before they work on their proposal, so that I can see how consistent the question could be, and in terms of the framework and the tradition that they research tradition that they would like to situate their study in, all those sorts. So I would have that one-page primer, and after they submitted that, then I would request the student to have a video conferencing with me. So because I would like to transcend the challenge of keeping that interaction alive, no? So we would have it. I would, so that I would know them personally. They would know me personally. We would have a video conferencing, and then after that video conference, it is a challenge because of my many meetings. So there will be times that I would have to request to move that schedule, or sometimes a student would have to request me to move the schedule. So that is a challenge in a way, keeping that schedule intact, given that we are both of us are not full-time in doing this research. And then the other one would be keeping a threaded email. I would not I would always request because it's a challenge. Students, when they email me, they tend to send a new email with a new topic. So they generate very long or not very long, but a lot of emails with the same concern. So I would require my students to, given my situation, that I would like to remember what I said the last time we were interacting. So I would require and request the student to keep a threaded email. That's a must for all of my students. given that I receive voluminous emails every day and I maintain 5 email addresses. So to keep my that not my sanity, but to keep me organized, all of this discussion with each advisee. So we're talking now of the thesis students and dissertation students, and later on I will also share about the research courses that I'm teaching. But I would have this threaded discussion, threaded email, so that I would remember the last guide that I gave to the student. So that is a challenge because some students are not used to this kind of uh, asynchronous interaction, because generating a new email is easier than keeping a threaded email. So that's a challenge for me, but again, it's in line of communicating, keeping our communication alive and directed. So if I may mention also, for because students, my advice is most of them, except nga dun sa MDC, know me as a teacher. So they have this feeling they're a bit takot. So during the video con, I have a lot of jokes for them to get, na, this is the teacher, but I don't crack jokes in classes because of the limited time, because there may be some tendencies that if you baka may divert ang discussion, so I would have some jokes, but very hardly do it. But if you are now my advice, I want you to know that I am a real person who has who is a joker. Not too serious. Really, I want you to enjoy your journey. So those are two aspects. Challenge in the sense that keeping the threaded discussion, the challenge of, because my identity is not just as their advisor, but my identity is because I'm the vice chancellor, I'm the program chair, and I'm their teacher. So they constructed an identity of me that is very different from who am I as a mentor and an advisor. Thank you.
I can say, I can mention that for sure because I used to be a student of Dr. G, no, but what I loved about seeing her, no, in her course was that the course side was very straightforward. The materials are clearly, no, curated so that you as a student, no, um, starting student maybe, or maybe in the middle of your journey of trying to conceptualize your research, um, I like the idea that you have curated the materials well kasi yun lang talaga tingin ko yung kailangan ko and then I can go on to learn more, no? And then when you actually meet Dr. Jean face to face, because I recall we also had that kind of short conversation face to face, and then that's the time that you will really see, you can really feel her smiling, diba? Sa course site malinaw ito yon. I need your seriously, this is what you need to read, these are the forum, I need a straightforward discussion, or the discourse is expected of students. Pero face to face, so it's it's a good, I think it's a good combination because we see you as a human being, we can relate maybe to your maybe hindi pa dun sa expertise na pantay, di ba? That's quite impossible to do for any mentee, di ba? But because we see you as a human being, then we are more comfortable with maybe making mistakes along the way kasi that's part of the learning that any student would undergo, 'di ba? Yung natututo minsan nahihiya, 'di ba? Nako, baka anong sabihin ng aking advisor kapag ipakita. So I sometimes with my former advisor, I have to always be on my best game, 'di ba? Pero actually minsan hindi mo naman in-expect yun as an advisor, 'di ba? That they're always on top of everything kasi that's quite impossible for any student. So that's a good perspective, ma'am, na trying to make your students see you as a human being, so that they can be comfortably be themselves and then disclose, 'di ba? disclosing their worries or hesitations when it comes to their research topics and their journey as a student. So I love that you pointed it out, and ngayon I remember how it felt. No? So parang Doc Myra, parang ano to, no? I think what Doc Jean is trying to share is some kind of teaching presence, but within the context of research mentoring, no? Having that structure and organization is important because we want certain things to be done, no, or undertaken. No? How about for you? And also the social presence, no, that is important. How
Yeah.
about for you, Doc Myra?
Oo, kasi ah, um, as a mentor, na minsan na ano sa siya, nasa subsum nung pagiging administrator mo eh. Kunyari, ay, busy yan, matara yan. Kasi pagka nag-a-advise ka, di ba, sa mga program, during program advising, pag makulit na, di ba, you tend to, ano, di ba, nawawala yung patience mo eh. Tapos pag kinuha kang advisor, okay, nag-iiba talaga yung impression. I see that when they evaluate me. Okay? In the beginning, I handled courses kasi eh, just like Doc Jean sa kanila. Yung mga regular courses, major courses. But then when they asked me to be their mentor, they would ang feedback ng mga yan, ay iba pala si ma'am. Hindi pala siya ganon. Tapos kasi I think the establishment of a relationship between a mentor and a mentee is very important. When I was in my PhD, which I may share, hindi ko sukat akalain na yung aking mentor ay magiging kaibigan ko, nanay, guidance counselor, tapos siya tutulong ko, and we became friends over the years. Hingan ko siya ng ng sama ng loob, parang ganon. We established really a good rapport towards each other, and even so, uh, the relationship extended to a collaboration of research collaboration. So that's it. So naiiba talaga yung impression. Lalo kay Doc Chin, VC siya, program chair, and iba kasi yung tingin. But when you learn to talk to her, sabi mo nga, iba talaga ang magiging mababago yung impression mo. That's why ako while ODeL really is a virtual talagang siya usually asynchronous, but when it comes to research talaga, there is really an importance of a face-to-face interaction kahit virtually, so that alam mo yun kasi they see you, ikaw yung nagiging epitome nila ng they tend to admire you and imitate you in the long run as a mentor. So dapat maganda yung impression mo sa kanila. Sabi nga nila, wala akong taray-taray ni ma'am kasi pag sa program advising, eto ang kunin mo, hindi pwede yan. Mag-drop ka, hindi pwede yan. Pero pagdating pala dun sa pag-guide niya towards the she's patient naman pala. So, yun, that's very important. Also yung sa akin, very very important din yung resource sharing. Kasi katulad sa amin, lalo na yung aming mga mini-mentor, mga doktor, okay? Hindi talaga sila hasado sa research. So nahihirapan sila. Ako, kagaya ni Doc Jin doon sa kanyang course site, I really help my student find a good article. Binibigay ko yung link. Ito yung basahin mo kasi ito yung gusto mong mangyari doon sa thesis mo. Tapos humanap ka ng kapareho niyan. Oftentimes sasabihin ko, sige, let's create a Google Docs. Doon natin ilalagay lahat ng mga resources na important para sa iyo. That way, talagang hine-help mo siya in providing yung mga resources na kailangan niya. In a way, na-inspire yung estudyante pag ganun yung approach mo, okay, as a mentor. Yun.
There, you mentioned about sharing of resources, no? Because I think this is not the mentoring takes place in different ways, and one kind of mentoring would be the sharing of resources that perhaps you have curated yourself as a researcher with your research identity, and yeah, as I can say for myself, that is one of those strategies that has worked for me as a research student, no? The sharing of resources, and kasi, di ba, you also try to match the level, no, of that material with the student. Um, Sometimes, I also try to catch myself when I do that, when I pass on some resources to my students, because I realized, teka, itong discussion na to was very much within the the context of a PhD, but for a master's students, what other material is best fit for them? So that is also one consideration, at what instance are they actually ready to receive this kind of resource, so it becomes effective. Otherwise, parang some students can get overwhelmed, no? With a lot of things. So, Dr. Jean, may ganun na ba kayong experience when it's like it's like no, how do you gauge, no, when your student, your mentee is actually ready, no, to for this material, or ready to move forward to do more? Because it takes a lot of parang you diagnose. It's like diagnosing their needs as a research student, and when to take them further, when to keep quiet, di ba? When to be hands off a bit. Parang, is there like a formula or like a tick box that we can reuse?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Okay. Thank you for that question, Leta. No? I likened my research classes and my research mentoring to a craftsman or craftswoman's workshop where the students are the apprentices. Ganyan yung pag-take ko doon. I know there will be others who would say that they are like on the same level. I would not do that. Otherwise, I will not teach them anymore. So what I would do is to take them as apprentices. So I liken my classes and all the thesis courses, EDDE 300, ASEAN 300, RNDM 300, DevCom 300, and Com 400 as a craftsman or a craftswoman's workshop. So as apprentices, they have to get familiar with the tools of the craft, tools in the form of knowledge, skills and attitudes in the common parlance, or what I call perspective and practice. So for me, that's what research mentorship is, in getting familiar with that research craft. And I do a lot of hand holding. That's why I wanted to use the metaphor of a workshop, of a crafts or man woman's workshop, because it would require hand holding. All my classes, uh, I hand hold every student. Even if I have 50 students in a class, I would hand hold them one by one. Because at the beginning of the class, I think the first interaction I have with students is to understand where they are. What is their level of knowledge in terms of research? So we would begin with a discussion of research. I would have my lecture notes on research as a process of knowing the unknown. It's in the business of knowledge production and the forms of knowledge produced by this process. There are two main, not necessarily they're the only forms of knowledge, is causal explanation and contextual explanation. So I would ask them based on that very short lecture notes, to share with me or with the class their experience doing research, and that's where I get an understanding. I gauge where the student is. So it depends on. Also, I would ask, if you would like to share. Would you share your research experience? What is the unknown in the research that you did? So just by answering that unknown, I would already know the level of knowledge of the student, their research knowledge, their research skill, just by that question and by them illustrating the research that they conducted, or they are conducting. And for those who have not conducted, so that's already a gauge for me that I would have to handhold this student from the very from step one. But for those who are able to share that they have contacted, so I would handhold them from step 4. So ganun yung interact ko with them in their individual differences. I think that's the question given by Doc Aleta earlier. So it's a hand-holding work that I do, whether you are a student in my class or whether you are my advisee. So even I would try also to gauge whether the student has this capability to read empirical materials. So I would have each one of them, even if there are 50 in a class, so I would know if they know how to read an empirical material. Of course, there are those who would not participate, so I don't have the chance to know where they are. So that's why I said it's very important for them to communicate with me so that I would know, we would know one another in the class or in our mentoring journey. So, but those who share, I would know whether they know how to read an empirical material. And by their posts, I know whether they know how to read a research question. I know whether they know how to review a literature, what's already the known in the field. I would know whether they know how to select a framework. I would know whether they know how to ask a research question. And I would know whether they know how to read the different methodologies possible for a certain. So in that interaction, you get to know the student individually. So I would have more individual interaction rather than a collective interaction. But I heard from my students that when I handhold one student, it is as if he or she is also handheld. Kasi they have the same question. I would have yung sinabi ko to one, okay, this is your study and this is a causal in orientation or this is context. So they get to learn as well. So collectively, it's not just me that they are interacting with, but they are interacting with that interaction itself. So ganun yung pag-deal with a one-on-one. It's really a hand-holding job, mentoring in class, mentoring in their thesis or dissertation is a hand-holding work. Thank you.
Thank you for that, ma'am, no? So, I can just imagine because this maybe ano no, takes a lot of active listening skills. Kung meron sigurong skill set ang ang mga research supervisor, isa talaga yung no, that focused attention and then the ability to actively engage and listen to the student because at some point it's like a parang Socratic dialogue yung ginagawa ni Mama way I relate it to of a kind of strategy that you do in a face-to-face, but you do it in a very skilled way online. Siguro you just shoot a question and then you shoot it and then it's able to elicit, no? Elicit what the students know and then you discern nandito na siya sa face na to. And I believe it takes a lot of experience and also intuition, no, to be able to do that, ma'am. So, how about for Doc Myra? Ano yung iba sigurong other strategies that you use, no? That but having to learn some having to learn your lesson and then being more strategic in when it comes to choosing the time sharing of resources. What other skill sets do you need to be able to do or any kind of kung merong pedagogies for research mentoring, what will this be?
So I always believe that we have to finish the research cycle. Okay,
So the
yung research cycle, which
emphasis on
is
the
yung
project.
presentation, apart from publications. Okay, that's why I encourage my students to present the paper. Okay, that way, we both collaborate. Okay, and then part of their professional development also. So yung mga societies na member ako, usually if I see in my student the potential to uh, to join or to submit a their paper, their finished paper, I encourage them. And ano yun eh, it's a motivation to them. Tapos nakikita ko na ano, nagkakaroon sila ng research interest. Nagkakaroon sila ng interest sa research, in other words. Okay, kasi na-acknowledge yung hard work nila. Okay, I have two na mentee. Tatlo na. Tatlong mentee na nag-present. One is si Amen, Doc Jean sa ASEAN. Kasi I believe that the conferences also can give you an idea of how you will be able to write your paper. That's why I encourage Amen to present her paper sa Singapore kasi hirap na hirap kami dun sa One Health Policy Research, okay? Nahirapan kaming kumuha ng stakeholders. And I am impressed to her that she was able to gather Asian member stakeholders na involved sa One Health. And I am so proud of Amen for that. Amen talaga siya. Kasi, oo, kasi, alam mo yun, the idea, and she's very happy na, ma'am, natanggap po yung ko, and natanggap yung paper ko, that you will learn a lot from that, from the conferences, and it will help you, kasi added resources yun sa kanya. Okay, and an improvement of her paper pagka ipinresent niya. Kasi there would be critics, di ba? Dun sa So, yun, I always believe on the professional development of my mentee. Talagang dapat, hindi naman dapat, but it helps a lot. Encourage them na magkaroon ng research interest. Tapos, another strategy that we do, lalo na sa IH, para ma-encourage yung other students, we post yung mga achievements nila. Say, for example, congratulations to the blah, blah, blah for passing the proposal defense. Talagang inilalagay namin sa, namin yan, sa site, dun sa International Health Program. Alam mo, pagka nag-post kami ng ganon, maya-maya, ang dami ng estudyante, ma'am, I wanted to ganito, my research topic is ganito. So, it's part of parang talagang nai-encourage sila na, kaya naman, kung kaya niya, kaya siguro rin. Parang ganun yung nagiging impression nila. So, mabobombard ngayon ako ng mga emails. Gusto ko ng, ito yung proposal ko, ito yung topic ko, how will I go about it? So, yun. Hindi ako kasi masyado sa handle, katulad ni Doc Jean. Kung sino lang yung interested interested, yun lang muna ang ini-encourage kasi napapagod ako. But as a faculty, hindi dapat di pa ganun ang attitude. Kaso lang, nangangapa pa kasi ko kasi I am a newbie. Okay? Oo. I have not mentored PhD students yet, but most of them are masters. So, compared to Doc Chin na seasoned na siya sa hindi ko talaga kaya yung handheld na nasabi niya. But in a way, I tried to be I tried to make maging model sa kanila ng mga aking mga mini-mentee. So,
yeah, but even for a newbie, ma'am, what you're actually trying to do is get into the research identity development, because that is a very important aspect of research supervision. Kasi this is the student, you're not just mentoring in terms of their writing and their conceptualization of the research, or when it comes to the methodology that they need to be able to sort of understand and deepen. But what you're actually doing is putting them in the space where they see themselves as future researchers who are independent. They are able to decide on things that they can grab to make themselves better. So this is about the research identity, not exactly the academic identity building, but them as a researcher and what it takes to be one. No, so engaging them with presentations and conference participation is really one concrete way, and documented na yan sa research. That's one of the best practices that you can actually do when it comes to research mentoring and supervision. And that's towards ano, no, a certain phase no of their research journey. And I've also listened to the strategies that Dr. Jean has shared, which is very critical when it comes to the first few stages of research conceptualization and sustaining that all throughout until they reach the towards the tail end where they're actually writing. So I think my question now would be more of the tips that you can share, or when it comes to perhaps addressing ano no the academic writing part. Is there some tips that you can share? Because academic writing is, it's something that people learn as they go. Hindi siya given to all students that we have, no? But perhaps Dr. Jean can share some tips along those lines, and any additional tips to students also out there who are being given feedback, no? Tips in terms of how to give that feedback, and also tips in terms of receiving that feedback as a research student. So any a combination of those would be great for us, Dr. G.
Yes, thank you, Leta, for that, Doc Aleta. So, I'm very particular about the clarity of the theoretical pursuit of the student, because that would guide them in their writing. What is that knowledge that they are pursuing? Because if they're not clear with that, they would, submit to you all sorts of writing that is not, according to the rigorous standard that the university has set for us. So kailangan muna, I would at the beginning, so this is also part of the beginning, the getting to know me and getting to know you part, is that I would ask the student, really, are you sure you want me to be your advisor? So I have to ask, because I would say that I can mentor in any traditions and any topic of interest, but I have my own preferred traditions, and I believe that being collegial in the university, I have colleagues who are much better than me in a particular topic or a particular research orientation. So at the beginning, I would already sort of as the student. So if the student wanted to do this kind of topic and using this kind of methodology, so I would already say that, are you interested in pursuing an alternative way of asking a question on this topic, and an alternative way of arriving at that knowledge. So if the student is interested, so then I become the chair of that committee. If not, then I would always ask a student to, or request the program to interchange the role. I can be the member, but the sir or mom, this professor who are members of this committee, can perform the role of a chair. So that's one way of part of mentoring in terms of writing, because each of the clarity, it's easy to write if you know what you're writing. If you don't know what you're writing, what can you write? That's why it's very difficult. So to me, the first step is you're clear of what is it that you are pursuing. What is that knowledge that you would like to contribute to the field? And that's what makes your journey interesting. So this is the very first keeping, especially we are in the academic institutions, it's an academic research, that is the context of what they're doing, but it doesn't mean that it's an academic research and that is not useful in practical ways. It should be. You cannot, I always say this is a quotation from Sam Wilson, I think, that there's nothing as theoretical, there is nothing as practical as a good theory, and there is nothing as theoretical as a good application. So what does it suggest? It suggests that what is theoretical and the practical need not be separated. So in our particular context, our students are already working, and they already have particular topics that they want to pursue because of their profession. So that is very important for me, that topic is something that they can use in their work, in their profession as teachers or academics or whatever particular context, practical or professional context they are in. So that is very important for me. And then I would also ask them, are you willing to have buckets of tears? Iiyak ka. So, while I introduce myself as a joker, I would also tell the reality of the process
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
it would require rigor. So,
Yeah.
willing ka ba? Kung baka dumating yung point na baka iiyak ka. And, may mga ganong kaming mga interaction na some of my students are already crying. So, sinasabi ko, nasabi ko natin yan, no? Na may isang estudyante, sabi niya, give up na daw siya. Give up ka na. Sabi ko, ako hindi pa.
Sorry, it takes two to tango. And it's a research relationship. You cannot
Yeah.
just say no to me, parang ganun.
So, yun ang ibig kong sabihin. Kung willing ka when you are committed to it, I am also equally committed to you. So, parang ganun yung ibig at the beginning.
That's,
Yes.
wow, ang ganda na nung metaphor na yun, ma'am, di ba? I mean, the reality of it, no? Kasi
So,
ma'am, talaga naman documented din ito sa, I mean, when it comes to mga nababasa ko on doctoral writing, that it's really an effective process, no? Writing in itself is an effective process. So imagine if this is about your thesis and then sometimes, di ba? The thesis is actually very personal to you, even if, for example, the product is very scholarly and rigorous, but yung sources niyan are quite personal, di ba? Within your context, because you want certain problems to be solved. That's why you actually have that question. So it's very much personal and political, I guess, no? But thank you, Mama. Binanggit niyo yung mga emotions. Kasi kasama yon. We're not just, cognitive individuals. We're like, we have the affect of us, di ba? Meron nga libro maming title, The Affective Researcher, no? So, ang ganda ng pagkasulat. But anyway, we have that in our library, Interesting siyang basahin. So, I just need to share here some questions, no? Let's see if na-cover naman natin. Reggie Fabro asked the differences in mentoring when it comes to ODeL and traditional. I think we've covered that, right? Certain strategies for effective communication and collaboration. We've also, actually, isa yan sa mga unang nabanggit na strategy ni Dr. Jean. And then some ethical considerations, no? Maybe the ethical practice of research mentoring, if there's such a thing, di ba? Syempre meron, di ba? Because there are like also boundaries that students need to also respect. But maybe if there are like ethical considerations that you do when it comes to your supervision practices, what Dr. Myra, if there's anything that you
Oo.
would like
Kasi
to.
research ethics,
Oo,
ano?
kasi research
Number
ethics
one,
that apply to your supervision. Ano yun?
one of the hardest areas na-encounter usually kapag ka naka-ODeL or naka-online ka, nasa online ka, is yung informed consent. Okay? Kasi there are a lot of our students conduct survey uh, via online. Okay? Dapat sa part of the research ethics is that the informed consent contains all the 7 basic ethical principles of research. Number 1 is autonomy, beneficence, the risk, the data privacy, which is very, very important. It has to be explicitly explained doon sa informed consent na yon. Hindi lang just tick it, 'di ba? If you understood the tick it, okay? Click.
Oo.
Hindi pwede. Dapat naka-explain yan kasi it has a legal repercussions eh. Lalo na kapag nagko-conduct ka ng survey online or research. We keep on reminding our students, okay? You do not copy the meaning of autonomy. Okay? Kailangan you explicitly explain it, qualify it, articulate it, kung ano ang autonomy dun sa research mo. And also, pinakamahirap dyan, kung magsusurvey ka sa ibang, kunyari iba yung, di ba regional tayo, may iba't iba tayong dialect o language. Dapat sinasalin mo yan kasi. So napakahirap, di ba? Unless otherwise you would opt to, ay, hindi na lang ako mag-online survey, mag-face-to-face na lang ako. Really, I admired students who finished their research during pandemic. Napakahirap nun. Okay? Napakahirap kumuha ng data at that time. Kasi you cannot do face-to-face. Instead, you have to collect it via online survey. Ang online survey, hindi mo naman yung pwedeng tutukan, yung tututukan mo na, okay, eto yung isusulat mo, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. So, mag-one-on-one ka. Paano yung part of the research ethics is beneficence. What benefit does the respondents get from you? Okay? Usually we give it is just I mean justice na bigyan mo sila ng compensation eh. Usually na-accept yan sa ethics eh. For example, inabala mo sila, gumamit sila ng internet, hindi na sila naka-live. So bibigyan mo yan ng load, di ba? Justice yon. So mahirap. Yung pinakamahirap yung part ng informed consent sa online. Now, another is yung plagiarism. Very rampant yan sa research. So we have to be vigilant about that. We have to explain to the student, hindi mo kinokopya yan. Marami kami, kaya nga part of our quality control sa MIH before we do the upload, yung di ba nag-upload tayo sa ating ng thesis, hindi ako pumapayag na turn it in galing sa ibang school or ibang application ang gagamitin sa thesis na may result na. Part of the process is that sa library mo siya ipato-turn it in ng UPOU. Kasi nandun yung credibility and integrity.
So you mean, ma'am, students can actually send an email to the librarian.
Yeah, and ask them
they will do the turn it in.
Oh, and it's only the one that I acknowledge. They would say, ma'am, napa-turn it in ko na, it's only 15%, blah, blah, blah. Ay, hindi pwede. Part of the process of the MIH is you have to undergo turn it in doon sa library natin sa UPOU. And it's free lang naman ang dali lang naman. Di ba? Kaya nga tayo nag-subscribe, kaya nga binigyan tayo ni VCFA ng budget for that.
Well, thank you for that, because what Dr. Myra mentioned is a very specific tool and also a strategy. Kasi, ma'am, di ba, the mentoring that we do is not just in the space of from the conceptualization to the data gathering and analysis. The research, the ethics of research, and then the guidelines and principles that we need to follow is something that needs to be impressed, to our students, and if not only impressed, very explicit, di ba, na kailangan ganito, o it has to take the form of this and that, especially if it's within UPOU also there.
So ang ating Turnitin ngayon may AI na detection. So they have to be careful about that dahil nadagdagan yung features ng ating Turnitin. So those are the ethical considerations that we usually follow dito sa by practice dito sa UPOU through online research. Yun yung sa akin.
Okay, so it's 2:59. Just to remind our audience that we have an evaluation link here for you, but for us to be able to to put things more back to back to maybe the final words that we can share, either from your part as expert or newbie research mentors, diba? Being able to impart, a few words of advice, either to the student who will trying to make sense of feedback that is being given to them by their research advisor, or either some final words to a newbie. Ma'am, newbie pa ako siguro. I started my research during the pandemic, no? So what are you've shared these very concrete strategies, but any final words of inspiration to us who are still learning the ropes, no, of how to do this mentoring in a very caring and professional way also, diba? Sige, Ma'am Jean. Eager kami makinig ni ano.
Correct.
And also, I'm sure part of our audience are
Yeah.
listening.
Thank you. I'm a researcher at heart. Actually, I started my academic career not as a faculty, but as a
Mm,
researcher. So,
mm.
nandun talaga yung I enjoy it to the max. If you want me to, when people ask me, given your very heavy load, how do you relax? Said, oh, I read theoretical materials. So I don't watch movies or those sorts of things, but I read a lot, and that makes me happy. I mean, I enjoy the journey very much, and I want that to be imparted to my mentees. That arriving at knowledge, you have this destination of arriving at knowledge, and it has to be enjoyed. So, yung enjoyment na yun, I want my students to, from yung time 1 to time N, whatever their destination is. Gusto ko ma-rub off sa kanila yung ganung
Pleasurable experience of the
passion
journey.
and enjoyment, because
Yeah.
it's really an enjoyable journey. You will find difficulties, there are humps, and of course in the journey may mga humps ka dyan na dadaanan, but all in all, it has to be an enjoyable journey. You are contributing to the building of knowledge. I always say to my students that this is a very big contribution. This is an important study. It will always be contributory to the building of knowledge in your particular discipline, in your particular profession. So it has to be enjoyed. And if that is taken that way, from my point of view, then you're ready to complete the journey. Kasi pag ano ba, if you use a metaphor of sailing under a storm, parang ganun din yun. Pero when you reach the shore, tuwa ka na nakapunta ka dun sa isang where you are heading on to your destination. So sa akin yun, enjoy as a mentor, not a tormentor.
A mentor.
Enjoy as a mentee, enjoy the process, and what is enjoyable differs from person to person. It differs from mentor to mentor, it differs from mentee to mentee, and so but you have to enjoy it. Yan po. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma'am Jean. And for Dr. Myra,
Ano, basahin ko yung aking ano.
yes, any final words for us? And even if it's addressed to students who are undertaking their research, that should be fine.
So, sabi mo nga, when we were discussing, di ba, research writing is a skill, it's a talent, but it's a learned skills. Few of us, luckily for the three of us, we have the talent, di ba? We have developed it through the years because of UP. However, it's a learned skills. Natututunan siya along the way. Hindi siya yung tipong hindi ako marunong, hindi ko kaya yan. Hindi totoo yun. Okay? So, sa online research mentorship, it represents a dynamic and inclusive approach to fostering the growth of aspiring researchers, transcending geographical constraints and capitalizing on the capabilities of digital communication. As we navigate the evolving landscape of virtual collaboration, the success of online research mentorship lies in its ability to provide tailored guidance, promote collaborative learning, and cultivate a supportive environment for mentees. By embracing the potential technology, we empower the next generation of researchers to navigate the complexities of their academic and professional journeys, just like what Doc Jean have said, fostering a global community committed to advancing our knowledge and contributing to meaningful research and endeavors. So parang pinaraphrase ko lang yung sinabi ni Doc Jean. So I hope they enjoyed the writing. Okay, mahirap, pero sabi nga ni Doc Juneta, pati nagbabasa ka kasi para madagdagan yung knowledge mo. And it contributes a lot to your to sa write-up na ginagawa mo. Yun lang.
Okay. There. So as we close, maraming salamat, no? Ang dami nating natutunan sa ating mga henyo. Experts sa UPOU. So just to to close, no, let's just keep our goals in mind, and that is because we desire that knowledge contribution, we feel that it is important, that it is valuable to our contribution as researchers to society in itself, no. Along the way, there are very specific strategies for us, and that would be maintaining and sustaining the communication and interaction, and impressing on our students the expected rigor and scholarship, because with that research is the responsibility, it's the accountability, not only to your participants but also to the audience, no, to the communities you would like to reach out to, no. So it goes with the rigor and scholarship and the expected ethical practice of our research. And part of the mentorship involved in that would be our social presence and teaching presence as supervisors, and most of all, the cognitive presence, which is actually the critical discourse that we would like to develop not only among our research students, but those who will be reading, diba? Those who will be engaging with our text and maybe the products of our outputs of our research. No, it's important that we share that critical thinking with others, and the participation when it comes to solving problems. Kasi yun naman talaga yung essence, no, ng why we do what we do as academics and researchers in the higher education environment. And then being in ODeL is such an such an opportunity to be able to reach out, no, to more student researchers, teacher educators, teacher researchers, and all types of researchers out there. So thank you very much for this lovely. I call it lovely because nakaka-relate. I relate very much with the sharing, being a newbie also when it comes to research mentoring with my Master of Social Studies education students. But there. So for the evaluation, please do not forget, and perhaps among all of us here who are contributors to the research culture of the university, it's also a practice that we're also honing and improving as we go, being your research supervisor. So the reason why we're here is also to build that positive research culture with our students there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. There's the evaluation link. So kindly click on that, or scan the QR code would be good. We will welcome your feedback. There.
Recording stopped.
Recording stopped.
Congratulations.
Parang itong naging teaching and learning